What's up guys, Kazungu here, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new version of the iconic Gjallarhorn rocket launcher added to Destiny 2 in the 30th anniversary update. I'll be looking at how to get this weapon, its catalyst, as well as the damage power and perks, and my thoughts on the weapon and its potential place in the current meta. Before we begin, however, if you like this video or find it helpful, remember that a like and subscribe are greatly appreciated and go a long way to help out my channel. And also, if you're interested, check out my Twitch, where I've been streaming the new content from the 30th anniversary update. I'll have that link down below if you're interested in checking it out. But anyways, let's get on to the video. So for the first step, you'll need to get your Gjallarhorn. So basically, you're just going to go talk to Xur, then to Gjallarhorn, then do the new dungeon, and then go and kill Powerful Fallen in the Cosmodrome. For this step, I actually used the Exodus Garden to a Lost Sector, which made it really easy. 2 or 3 runs got me all the Wolfpack rounds I needed. Then after that, I went to talk to a few more NPCs. You'll eventually have to do that Lost Sector one more time, and then you'll go and assemble the Gjallarhorn at Gjallarhorn's camp and receive the weapon. For the catalyst, you need to go back into the Grasp of Avarice dungeon once you've obtained the Gjallarhorn, and after dropping down past the first crystal, you'll see a Reaver Vandal spawn. Doing damage to him can spawn an engram that will give you the Burden of Riches, and you can take it to a nearby chest to gain lost fragments, and you need to do this 3 times in different parts of the dungeon. I won't go into specifics here just to keep the video length shorter, but if you find yourself stuck, I recommend chasing down a guide for it. As for Gjallarhorn itself, there's a few things we need to look at in its base stats. It is a 15 RPM rocket launcher, so as a result it actually has built-in tracking, and it also has a 100 in its blast radius, making it lay down a lot of destruction over a very wide area. As for its perks, there are a few unique things with this rocket, both old features from its Destiny 1 version, as well as new capabilities given to it in Destiny 2. First, Gjallarhorn does still have its old perk, Wolfpack rounds, causing it to spawn 7 child rockets on hit, and these have tracking built in as well. Typically, the Wolfpack rounds will track to the original target if it survives the rocket impact, but they can also scatter out to kill even more enemies. And if you have the catalyst, then kills from the Wolfpack rounds will spawn a new, stronger Wolfpack projectile. This part of it is alright, but it felt like it didn't really proc all that often, just because the rocket itself is too good at killing things and the Wolfpack rounds don't always get to chase something down, which I definitely can't complain about, but honestly, I think it's a good addition to an already powerful rocket, but I didn't notice this perk activating all that often. The major thing that this catalyst does for you, though, is give you a second rocket in the mag, like in Destiny 1. This already makes Gjallarhorn better than just about every single rocket launcher in the game because of Wolfpack rounds' bonus damage, as well as the fact that you get to fire 2 rockets for every 1 reload. However, an entirely new addition specific to Destiny 2's Gjallarhorn is the addition of the perk Pack Hunter, where when you're using Gjallarhorn, you gain bonus reload speed next to your allies. It's a pretty decent bonus, so definitely nothing to complain about. The other part of this perk that's truly insane is the fact that firing your Gjallarhorn will give your nearby allies using non-exotic rocket launchers Wolfpack rounds. More on this in a bit when I get to its damage values, but it is a pretty major perk for this weapon. But how does Gjallarhorn's damage stack up compared to other rockets and other damage options? Well, in terms of rockets, this thing is definitely a great choice for us to use. Against our Servitor Lost Sector boss, the primary rocket dealt a total of 55,886 damage, which is consistent with a rocket launcher hit on this Servitor boss. Each of our 7 Wolfpack rounds then hit for 834 on impact and 1,786 on detonation, for a Wolfpack total of 18,340, with a 1 rocket total damage of 74,226. This is without any buffs too, so you can include things like Weapons of Light or Argent Ordnance to get your damage up even higher. Now that we have our 1 rocket damage though, we can look at actual damage metrics, and we have a few different things with Gjallarhorn that are worth noting. Specifically, as for its DPS, since reloads are a bit more efficient with its 2 rocket magazine size, as well as its reload speed buff from Pack Hunter, Gjallarhorn has more DPS than most rocket launchers, while keeping very similar total damage. Multiplying our previous total of 74,226 by Gjallarhorn's 7-round reserve, we get a total damage output of 519,582 against our Servitor boss. And if we look at how long it takes to shoot all 7 rockets, we get a time of about 12 seconds, bringing Gjallarhorn's DPS with Pack Hunter to a total of 43,299. This is much higher than pretty much any other rocket launcher I've tested in terms of DPS, except for Deathbringer under near perfect conditions, and even then that is not quite as consistent, and it's almost entirely thanks to the fact that Gjallarhorn has 2 rockets per reload. If we want to look at its DPS without Pack Hunter, however, but with just a rocket loader mod instead, we get a slightly lower value of 39,968. Basically, Pack Hunter's reload speed can just replace a rocket loader or Lunafaction boots for your Gjallarhorn's DPS, but you could also stack one of those for a slightly faster reload speed, although stacking too many reload buffs will eventually just hit the weapon's reload speed cap, and you won't be benefiting any more from an extra mod or something. Overall, however, this rocket does much more DPS than any other rocket launcher right now, as last time I tested most legendary rockets, they were hitting for about the same damage with an individual rocket. But even with stacked reload buffs, they would fall off because they reloaded too slow to do good damage over a longer period of time, or you had to sacrifice all your potential damage perks for a reload perk and just lost too much damage that way. Gjallarhorn, on the other hand, is extremely solid, being able to put up numbers competitive with weapons like 1000 Voices, Sleeper Simulant, and Whisper of the Worm. But the two fusions in that list do currently outperform it simply due to particle deconstruction in the artifact. However, once that mod leaves us in February, the playing field will be much more even, and I think Gjallarhorn will become even stronger than it already is. The one last thing that I did want to look at regarding Gjallarhorn today was its ability to give Wolfpack rounds to other legendary rocket launchers. I tested this with a few of my own rockets and found that Wolfpack rounds would do the same damage on a legendary rocket as Gjallarhorn. And there were some cases where a legendary could even outperform Gjallarhorn as long as a fireteam member would give that legendary rocket the Wolfpack buff. For rocket damage perks, I did test a few, like Vorpal, Lasting Impression, and Explosive Light, and I found that for the most part, perks had very little effect on the Wolfpack rounds. Lasting Impression did give some slightly higher numbers, but I wasn't sure if that was because the Lasting Impression was buffing the wolf packs or if it was something else, but the increase was so minor that I didn't waste time investigating further. As a whole, legendary rockets typically did about 20% more damage than normal with wolf packs on, but they still suffered in DPS due to not having 2 rockets in the mag and only being able to get 1 rocket per reload. So I'd still have to recommend Gjallarhorn for DPS unless you have something crazy with you, which brings me to my old god roll of Royal Entry with Field Prep and Clown Cartridge. I really like this rocket, but what had me interested in it here was the fact that Field Prep is able to replicate both Pack Hunter's reload speed buff, while Clown Cartridge also ensures that you always get 2 rockets in the mag every time you reload. However, the other thing about this rocket that made me excited was the fact that Field Prep also increases the ammo reserves, giving you 9 rockets instead of 7. It hit the Servitor boss for a primary rocket total of 77,416, and the reason that this is higher than Gjallarhorn's damage is because I do have a boss spec mod on it just to test that value instead, whereas Gjallarhorn, being exotic, cannot slot a boss spec mod. And the Wolfpack rounds each hit for 2,823, making all 7 do a total of 19,761 to our Servitor boss. And therefore, each rocket did a grand total of 97,177. With our 9 rockets total, this gives us a total damage output of 874,593. And it actually exceeds Gjallarhorn's DPS by over 10,000 damage per second, with a DPS total of about 54,662. This is pretty specific to this roll of Royal Entry though, but I thought it was worth noting. If you do have one of these, and one of your teammates is going to run Galley, you should just use this instead of another Gjallarhorn, just because of how much more damage this thing could potentially put out when a teammate fires their Gjallarhorn to give you the Pack Hunter buff. I think it's incredible, and I'm actually going to use this in most of my raids instead of my Gjallarhorn, at least for the time being. However, that is all I have for today's video, so if you like what you saw or found it helpful, remember that a like and subscribe are greatly appreciated, and feel free to check out my Twitch as well if you want to catch some streams over there, and let me know in the comments down below what you think of the new version of Gjallarhorn, and as always, I have been Kazungu. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later, everybody.